Now it is my true honor to introduce our next award recipient, and also he's going to give us our keynote speech for the day. Just a tireless leader, a national leader that is so passionate about his work, cares dearly about what it is that concerns us on a daily basis, and I'm talking about none other than Congressman Eliijah Cummings from the great state of Maryland. As I said, he's passionate about our issue, and he has used his powerful voice that you will hear later and his considerable influence to move our movement forward. He has made tremendous inroads in these very difficult times. He represents the 7th District in the great state of Maryland. He's a staunch supporter of community-based coalitions. He's had me and ONDCP officials and others in the city of Baltimore in the great state of Maryland helping him build coalitions. We have done just that, and some of the coalitions that he has helped us build, in fact, now are recipients of the Drug-Free Communities Program. Clearly, the Congressman has worked to ensure that the impacts of drugs out in communities and on streets in the great cities across this state, not just the city of Baltimore, the impact is less than it would be without him. I have come to know him as a great friend. He's always there for us when we need him. I can think of no member of Congress more deserving to receive our National Leadership Award and address us today than Eliijah Cummings. Congressman Cummings, please come up and do that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, we can do better than that. Good afternoon, everyone. I first of all want to welcome you to Maryland. We're very happy that you are here. And I want to say that I'm just excited about being here. And as I walk through the door, General Dean, I got a little chill in seeing the young people who are going to go far standing up and dancing. It made me feel good. And I want to thank General Dean for his tireless efforts over the many years. It is one thing to head up an organization. It's another thing to do it with great competency and compassion. And General Dean has done that over and over and over again. I also want to thank all of you for what you do every day. I often talk about the PPP, the pity party professionals, the ones, you know them, who stand on the sidelines of life, always complaining about their communities, but never appearing at a community meeting, never writing a letter to a politician, never picking up a phone, never sending an email, but yet and still they complain over and over again. And I'm so glad that you are not a part of the PPP. I also thank you for doing what you do so effectively. You know, there is a mindset in Washington today where they want to cut everything. And you all got cut a tiny bit, while other programs are being eliminated completely. But the reason why you got cut just a tiny bit is because you take the taxpayers' dollars and you use them effectively and efficiently. Thank you. And I want to thank you for that. I want you to just hang with me for the next 12 minutes because I have a message for you. As I saw the young people dancing, I could not help but think about my nephew, who back on June 10th, as he laid in his bed near Old Dominion College or University in Norfolk, somebody broke into his house at 5 o'clock in the morning and murdered him. 20 years old, just as beautiful and lively as the young people who were on the stage dancing. A young man with a 3.5 average, owned his own business. Parents paid his entire tuition, room and board with his savings. A young man who was on his way to a great future. And as I think about what we do today, we still have not, by the way, figured out how it happened or what happened. But I do believe that some demented and misguided persons murdered him. But that's not what I want to talk about. The night before his funeral, I was trying to perform one of the most difficult tasks I have ever performed. I had been asked by my brother, he was my younger brother's son, to do the eulogy. And if you've ever tried to do a eulogy of somebody 20 years old, while I had given thousands of speeches all around the world on every topic you could name, General Dean, as I sat there and I looked at my computer screen at 4 o'clock in the morning getting prepared for a 10 o'clock funeral after having been up all night just looking at those words on the screen saying eulogy of Christopher Cummings, the words just wouldn't come. So I decided to go to his Facebook page. There at the Facebook page, he had the people who inspired him the most. First one was Barack Obama. The third one was some rock star. Some rapper, little somebody. I didn't know who he was. So I went back to the second one. And there he had his uncle, Elijah. And as the tears began to roll down my face, I kept scrolling down, and I noticed something, General, that was common throughout the entire Facebook page, and that was his mantra, his motto, which is what I'm going to talk about for the next 6 minutes. The first thing it said was speak your mind. The second thing it said was pour out your heart. The third thing it said was love your soul. Speak your mind, pour out your heart, love your soul. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here. I've often said that a part of life is death. But I am convinced that a part of death is life. And as I speak for him, I want to encourage you to continue to speak your mind. Neighborhoods do not become drug infested with people who are constantly complaining about the drugs. As you know, in Baltimore, we had the Dawson family speaking out against the drugs. Some demented person at 3 o'clock in the morning who they had been complaining about basically comes, throws a Molotov cocktail in their house, killing 5 children and 2 adults because they spoke their mind. But because they spoke their mind, there is a Dawson Center in that house today educating young children. There's a safer community right now. There's a safer community there. HIDA is working closer with that community because they spoke out. But there's a piece of speaking out that I must warn you about. When you speak out, you may be criticized. When you speak out, some people may call you crazy. But you must speak your mind. Parents, you must speak your mind. When you see things going on in your house that you know is wrong, acting like you just want to be a big sister, there comes a time when the sisterhood has to end and the parenthood has to begin. Speak your mind. Speak your mind when you begin to see that young person hanging out with the persons that you think are the wrong people. And I know I'm a father. I know what they're going to say. Oh, you just trying to get in my business. And you need to say, I have a right to get into your business because I want you to grow up to be all that God meant for you to be. You got to speak your mind because you want them to understand when you're dead and gone, you want them and their generation to go higher and higher, not lower and lower. Speak your mind. Speak your mind when you go to the coalition meetings. There's so many people that go to meetings, and because they feel that they have nothing to offer, they say nothing. The reason why we have coalitions is so we can bring thoughts together. And when you fail to speak up, you deny the coalition your expertise. I know some of you all, and I'm going to be fast, I promise. I know some of you sit there and say, what expertise do I have? And I got to tell you this little quick story, and then I'm going to hit the other 2 points, and I'm down. I'm gone. When I first got to the Congress, and I want you to remember this story. When I first got to the Congress, they put me in a leadership position. I was scared as I could be. Because there I sat with Nancy Pelosi and Gephardt and all these famous people that I'd seen on television on 60 Minutes. And I asked myself, what do you have to offer, Elijah? Here you are sitting here with all these leadership people. You grew up in the ghetto. Your mother and father were former sharecroppers. They only had a second-grade education. What do you have to offer? They put you in special ed in the kindergarten and kept you there to the 6th grade. What do you have to offer? These people have been on television. They've been in the Congress 15 to 16 years. You just got here. What do you have to offer? So I sat there for 6 months, and I said nothing. Not a word. And then one day, General Dean, they started talking about special ed. It's a true story. They started talking about special ed, and they were talking about cutting special ed Title I funds. And a little voice came to me and said, "Hey, Elijah." I said, "What's up?" The little voice said, "I prepared you for this moment. Everything that has happened to you up until this moment prepared you for this moment. There are millions of children who are depending on you. They're depending on you. You have to speak up right now. Here you are with folks who are in the leadership, and they can make a difference for all those children, the ones in Hawaii, those ones in Omaha, the little boys and girls that look just like you. It's time for you to stand up and say something." And I said back to the little voice, I said, "But I don't have any expertise. They don't want to hear what I have to say." The little voice said, "You are the expert." He said, "Nobody else in this room has ever sat 6 years in special ed, my boy. So it doesn't matter what you're going to say, they can't refute it because you're the one who's been there. You need to get up, you need to get up, you need to speak quickly, you got to speak quickly." And I kept saying, "No, I'm not going to do that." And then suddenly the little voice said, "Get up!" And I began to speak. And the more I spoke, the more emotional I became. Because my memory bank just was flooding over. And I can remember the tears of being called everything but a child of God. I can remember the moments where I did not know how to dream. I can remember the moments when I felt like a caged bird. I could remember the moments where I felt so much pain, and I began to tell my story over and over again. And the next thing is, and I said, "Any questions?" I got to the end. Said, "Any questions?" They said, "No." And said, "Oh, we can't do that. We can't do what we were going to do." And they did what I wanted them to do. You must speak your mind. You do have something to contribute. Second, he said, pour out your heart. What he meant by that was whatever you do, do the best you can. Give it everything you've got. And the reason why you must do that is because so many people are depending on you. Sometimes you don't feel like getting up for that meeting. You want to stay home because it's cold. You want to stay home because you want to watch the football game. You want to stay home because you just got a new boyfriend. You've been trying to get this date for so long, didn't know what to do. Just trying to get to the movies. Sometimes you have to make the sacrifices and pour out all of your heart because it's not about, oh God, it's not about you. It's bigger than you. It's about generations yet unborn. It's bigger than you. And you have got to understand that. It's not about you. It's about making a difference in somebody else's life. So pour out your heart, as Christopher would say. Finally, love your soul. I didn't understand that one from Christopher. So I went to his girlfriend who had been dating him 3 or 4 years. And I said, Cheryl, what did he mean by love your soul? She said, well, he used to always tell me that he wanted to develop himself into the person that if he were a woman, he would want to fall in love with. Oh, that's deep. Why is that so important? Loving your soul, our communities, that is our soul. The neighbors that you come in contact with at the gas station, the neighbor who teaches your children, the one up the street who's the fireman, the one down the street that works at the local grocery store, the children that you see every day as you are on your way to work, that is your soul. You must love that soul. And if you love that soul, you will do everything in your power to develop that soul so that it can become all that it was meant to be. That's what loving one's soul is about. We must develop our neighbors because they are us. In other words, we gotta, just like Christopher said, he wanted to develop himself in such a way that if a woman saw him, he would want to be the man, he wants to be the person that she would fall in love with. We want our neighborhoods to be the neighborhoods that people will fall in love with. That's what we want. We want them to know that when their children grow up there, that they're going to be safe and they're going to feel comfortable and they're going to have things to do. But you know, oh God, you know what else we want to do? We want them to understand that when they move into our neighborhoods, they've got people who's got their back. I'm finished. I thank you for the award. No, I really do. I thank you for the award. But if we never meet again, if we never meet again, for life is short, I beg you to do me 3 favors. Speak your mind. Pour out your heart. Love your soul.